So question for today, how would you invest $1,000? Honestly, you can do a lot with $1,000, including not investing it. You could literally just go to the mall and just buy whatever you feel like buying just because it makes you feel good. But within this YouTube channel, I want to try to be a little more responsible, and I've thought about this question a lot to myself, especially with the potential of a second stimulus package. Now remember guys, we got one a couple of months ago based off what the economy has been going through, and it's supposed to be a relief, but everyone's used their $1,200 in a different way. Whether it's to pay for emergency situations or hopefully not be in a position to where you're not stressed out to where you can actually think about what you want to do with those funds. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to invest your stimulus check specifically, and to round it off, we're going to talk about how to make passive income with $1,000. Let's get started. What's up guys, I'm Darren Jackson. Hopefully you guys are having a great week this far. We got the weekend coming up, so that's really awesome. And hopefully we have a stimulus package coming in because this economy still needs one. From unemployment rates still going up to people not being able to pay rent, this stimulus package could definitely be beneficial to a lot of us. Now, once the House and the Senate finally come to an agreement, this stimulus package could potentially include yet another $1,200 stimulus check. Now, there's a lot of responsible things you can do with this check, especially when it comes to investments. You can deposit into a Roth IRA, which is a Roth individual retirement account. Basically, it's a pre-tax investment account of your own choosing. It grows tax-free, and you could potentially withdraw in a world where tax is higher, but withdraw it tax-free. So you're essentially saving money and making more at the same time. You could open an HSA or a health savings account, which is basically a debit card that you primarily use for medical expenses. It's pre-tax as well, and your charges are tax-free as long as they're medical charges. Or, as this video is primarily focused on, you can invest it into stock. So this video breakdown is pretty simple. We're gonna talk about some stocks that you could potentially invest $1,000 into. Now, I don't necessarily condone investing a large amount of money into one particular stock. Just think of these as just different options. You can split them up into these stocks. And also remember guys, I'm not a financial advisor. These are just my personal opinions based off what I've learned over my time of investing, but hopefully these help you out and put you in the right direction of what you want to do, just in case we do get this stimulus package, and it could provide a lot of passive income. So the first category of stocks that you could invest $1,000 into are ETFs, or exchange traded funds. These are really good for decreasing volatility, especially depending upon which ETF you invest into. I always just say, think of it as a bucket full of stocks that typically track a specific index, like the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and the S&P 500. Now, if you're not really sure what stocks you want to invest into in the stock market, because there's a lot of them, I get it. You can try investing into VTI, which is the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. It literally sounds like what it is. It's essentially an ETF filled with basically every stock within the stock market. You're talking over 3,000 stocks that your dollars are going into every time you invest into it. It has a little over a 3% dividend yield. It's a little over a $200 stock. The price to earnings ratio is fairly low, and the expense ratio for this ETF is about 0.03. I know I don't talk about expense ratios a lot when I talk about ETF, but it's basically how much money you have to pay as a courtesy fee for having somebody essentially doing the research to create this ETF for you to invest into. But basically, it's $3 you're getting charged for every $10,000 you're putting into this ETF. So it's not really a lot of money at all. So this ETF is covering the entire stock market. So you're talking large cap, middle, small, and even micro cap stocks. But if you want to focus specifically on large and middle cap stocks, then maybe you can try VOO, which is the Vanguard S&P ETF. VOO is essentially the same thing as VTI, again, except it focuses on large and middle cap stocks, so it's not as many stocks. It's about the same price, it's about the same dividend yield, and I believe it is the same expense ratio. Now, the volatility could be a little different. The growth rate for these two are pretty much the same, so you're not really going wrong with either one of them. Again, I believe that VOO may be a little more volatile because it's focusing on more heavier based stocks as far as market cap. They both have a primary focus on tech. So VOO and VTI, you're looking at companies like Amazon, Apple, and Google that the majority of your funds are going to be going into. And during a time like this, those are great stocks to invest in individually. Now, the third ETF is QQQ, which is PowerShares QQQ. I still don't know what the QQQ stands for. Maybe I'll figure that out another time. Drop a comment if you actually know. But QQQ focuses on the NASDAQ 100. The NASDAQ 100 is the top 100 largest market cap and highest traded stocks. So again, it's gonna focus on companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook. Its highest sector is within technology, just like the other two ETFs. It has a 0.56% dividend yield, a 33% price to earnings ratio, and an even smaller expense ratio at 0.2%. So you're talking $2 fees for every $10,000 you put within QQQ. So any of these ETFs are highly recommended. They're very low volatility and they're going to consistently pay you dividends and consistently grow, equivalent to passive income. So the next category of stocks are Dividend Aristocrats. I actually made a video about Dividend Aristocrats a couple of months ago, so you should definitely consider watching it. I'll leave a link right up above. But basically, Dividend Aristocrats are stocks within the S&P 500 that have consistently grown and paid out their dividend stocks for at least 25 years consistently. So very safe companies. One of those companies is 3M, ticker symbol MMM. It is a tech company that manufactures industrial safety and consumer products. If you're in a tech industry, you're gonna see parts that are made by 3M. They're everywhere. Now, 3M has been paying out and growing their dividends for 57 years, one of the highest out there, probably the highest out there, so you know your funds are in a safe stock. It has over a 3.5% dividend yield and an 18% price to earnings ratio. The next stock is ticker symbol KO, or Coca-Cola. We're talking the biggest beverage company out there. They own different beverages such as Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, Sprite, Fanta, Minute Maid, Dasani, etc., etc. We've talked about this so much. They also have been growing their dividends out for the past 57 years. Their dividend yield's a little over 3%. I personally invest in Coca-Cola. They pay out about 40 to 42 cents every quarter, and they've been paying that out consistently, which I enjoy. And they have a pretty low price to earnings ratio at about 22%. The third company is Target. I would describe Target as the bougier Walmart. It's basically what it is, at least in my opinion. Target has been consistently growing. They have a 48-year trend of dividend growth and dividend payouts, which is amazing as well. And they've had a recent Q2 just explosion, considering how much they've been able to adjust to what's going on with this pandemic and still getting sales and still being able to grow. Their stock has jumped up a lot. I bought the stock at $110 and it jumped up to almost $150 within a week. So this is definitely a company that I'm gonna hold on to and buy more of. And this is definitely a company you should consider looking into as well, considering its dividend yield and its price to earnings ratio. Now, on a side note, you can look into monthly dividend paying stocks, which happen to be a little more suspect, especially depending upon what type of monthly dividend paying stock. Over my investment experience, I've learned that the majority of monthly dividend paying stocks are REITs, which are real estate investment trusts. They have a tendency to pay out 90% of their income every single month that they make from tenants, which could be good or bad just because it depends on what the tenant is. And especially during a situation like this, you don't want to invest into a monthly dividend paying REIT that's supported by tenants of residential homes, because they could essentially lose their jobs, unfortunately, not be able to pay, which would affect you as a shareholder. But the one REIT monthly dividend stock that I would suggest you invest into right now is Realty Income. I'll talk about this REIT so many times, but their tenants are major companies such as Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Walgreens, FedEx, Sam's Club, and Walmart. And I had no idea about those four, but people are still going to these stores for medical supplies, groceries, water, some type of entertainment to keep them busy while they're at home, etc., etc. And they pay out about 20 cents every single month. They've consistently paid out since I've had them, and they're widely known as the monthly dividend paying company. So they're going to do what they can to make sure they keep that name and consistently pay out their shareholders. Now, hopefully this video has inspired you guys to reconsider what you plan on using the stimulus check for, or just overall how you plan on investing a whole amount like $1,000, because there's definitely a lot of passive investing opportunities out there, and hopefully you can find those opportunities and take them. But this video has helped you guys out. Make sure you watch these other videos, or at least consider watching these other videos. Hopefully they help you guys out on your investing journey as they have in mine. I appreciate you guys watching, and until next week, take care.